Hello, my name is John Brewster, an osteopath from Keighley, also part of the medical team up at Wharfdale Rugby Club, and slightly help coach the under-14s who will be participating in this video later on, as are my sons. What we're trying to do really is develop a series of warm-up exercises, and we'll run through my introduction first, what we're going to do now. Then we're going to do a demonstration, which I'll show you what you're trying to aim for in the exercises, in the core exercises, what you're trying to aim for. That'll be shown a little bit more as a duo with a couple of my boys. And then we'll go on to how the team, the under-14s, try to get this approach right, and give you the ideas about how you can use this for your team as well. It can be used by teams, not necessarily just rugby, any team, and it can be extracts taken out for individual sports as well. It's designed as a warm-up for the core muscles, the central core muscles. Also, we're adding in some dynamic exercises for the peripheral muscles, and also because of the communication skills and the awareness, spatial awareness that's developed by the exercises, we're also developing the brain participation. It's the brain preparation, the brain warm-up. And that's why fundamentally we're doing this warm-up. It's not just designed as a peripheral muscle body warm-up. It's designed as a way in which you can warm up the brain. And therefore, if you're warming up all those integrated areas, then you're less likely to injure any part of that, whether it be the physical or the brain as well. So they're less likely to fatigue any of these areas, including the brain, and therefore suffer from concussion because of poor preparation of the tackle or any of those elements. So we're trying to minimize and lessen the likelihood of injury of any of the areas. You'll see we have 4 core exercises, all developed from Professor Stuart McGill. We termed them the pushing Superman, which is a Superman just developed into so you're helping develop it by using a colleague. We've got the high 5 plank, again using a colleague. The competitive aeroplane, so the aeroplane's been developed to try and use this as a pushing, and then also the stir in the pot. So the essential 4 that McGill goes on about, we've developed for a team approach. You'll see that there's going to be columns, and so as long as you've got even number of columns, 2, 4, 6, then you can have partners for those core exercises. In between the 4 exercises, we've got the dynamic exercises, of which there are 6. So obviously you have to repeat 2 of the core exercises again, of your choice. And those dynamic exercises are designed to warm up all the various aspects of the requirements or the areas you'll require within the sport. So we'll go through those. So you've got the jogging out, where you jog out in a column. Each column will be told, column 1, 2 or 3, whichever, will be told when to say about the response, when they're going to go backwards. So they're preparing the team for a running backwards, all in line, all together, keeping that space difference between them. So they're developing the awareness of where players are and the communication skills as well, back to where they start from, ready for the next exercise. Opening and closing the gate to work on the hip flexors. And again, when they get to the certain point, the next column will say whether they go left or right. So they'll side step 7 or so steps away from where the columns are, and then return backwards in a line. Round each other, so the colleagues will go up in unison, to groups of 2, where they will stop at 3 or 4 paces, go around each other facing forwards, with one person stood still, the other one around them, clockwise, and if you can, counterclockwise. Few steps on, again, the same again, until you get to where you say the 25-meter line. And again, the column will then say whether they go left or right, sidestep the 7 paces, so out the way of the columns, and returning left or right in a line spatially separated. Knocking shoulders, where it's not necessarily about the impact, it's about the recovery when they land and the next few steps again before they go. So they have to communicate when they're going to hit and how they land, and again when they're going to hit again. So there's got to be communication skills between the columns as they go up, and again one column saying when they're going to go, which way they're going to go, backwards, left or right, sidestepping and backwards in line. High knees, working on the hip flexor muscles, and again a column saying which way they go back, and then the sidestepping is the last one. Again, communicating which leg they're sidestepping off every 2 or 3 paces forwards. So developing that, and then again the sidestep overall as a group and the return back to the start point. The Superman and the plank and the airplane, all about the core exercise, the core muscles, keep the hips and shoulders at right angles, you'll see, trying to keep the torso parallel to the floor. And again, you'll see that as we go through the technique on these core exercises, what you're trying to achieve in the core. And as I say, because you've got 6 dynamic exercises, you'll have to repeat 2 of those of your choice of the core exercises to fit in between those. So that then rounds up the introduction to the warm-up that we're going to develop. So I'll go through the aimed approach of each of those core exercises and what you're trying to achieve next. Thank you. Hi, so continuation to after the introduction of while we're doing the warm-up and what the idea is behind it. I'm going to run through what you're trying to achieve. When you're looking at the individuals participating in the core exercises, what you're trying to look for as a coach and make sure they're doing it correctly. So we're going to start with the pushing Superman, which is an adaptive version of McGill's Superman. You're on all fours, hands and knees at right angles. All at right angles, the limbs are to the torso facing straight down, and that's the idea, is to keep that parallel to the floor all the time. What you're then going to do is provide diagonals. So if it's my right arm, it's going to be my left leg, which is going to go backwards. You're going to try and keep a flat base here all the time, so it's not waffy, there's no looseness, you're going to keep that there. And the idea is the more pressure you can push down with the remaining limbs into the floor, the better. So it's a downward pressure that's not actually matter of fact. The hand is then going to press up against your partner who's facing you, and then you're going to push into that partner who's going to try and jostle you a little bit to keep that, to stimulate the core muscles to work, and you're going to keep that stiffness through the spine into the limbs all the time. When you fail, or after a little while, you change over to the opposite diagonal. So my left arm, my right leg. And again, keep the hollow in the back, keep the torso facing down all the time as you're pushing into your partner's hand as a jostling mechanism to test out those mechanisms of the core muscles in the Superman. Thank you. Okay, the next exercise we're going to go through is the high 5 plank. You're going to face your partner, you're going to go onto your forearms, and you go onto the front of your feet. So it's like the plank position, and you're starting in that position. What you're then going to do is try and touch the hand of your partner facing you in a high 5 type position. And you're running onto the inside and outside of your feet, back to the front, and then high 5 the other side. So you would indicate your partner when you're moving. Let's go from the side to show you. So hopefully you'll see on the inside and outside of your feet, keeping that plank position, so flat between the shoulders and feet, rising up, inside, outside of your feet, back to there, and high-fiving your partner in front of you there. And just keep on doing that nice and slowly, keeping that trunk nice and strong, not waffing your hips, keep it strong there. Thanks. The other exercise is stirring the pot. So this is more an individual exercise, but again, around your other partner. If you want to be on your forearms, and you're going to basically stir in the pot is a round stance. So your shoulders move, your trunk is stiff, parallel to the floor in a press-up position or the plank position, and you're on your toe ends. So your ankles will be making nice circles as your shoulders are, stiff in between. So from the side, on the forearms, keeping that stance, shoulders moving, off your feet, circular position, nice big circle, slower the better. Clockwise, counter-clockwise, as you get that movement. Not waffing your back as I was then, keeping it nice and stiff through the trunk, not high in the air, keeping it nice and parallel where possible. Keeping that trunk nice and strong, parallel to the floor. Okay, that's stirring the pot. Next exercise is the competitive airplane. So it's an adapted version of McGill, the airplane exercise. You need to face the partner, holding onto his shoulders or his hands. So if I press into the wall, and then you're going to make as much as a right angle at your hip as much as you can. So trying to get your spine parallel to the floor as much as possible. The lower down, the harder it is, the more vertical, the easier it is. So you can grade it depending on the strength of your people you're working with. Pushing into that, trying to keep that pushing in, trying to keep the competition of pushing in from the hip, and you'll feel it in your bottom muscles, really working hard. If that fails, when you drop over, you'll change over to the other side, and again pushing in, trying to keep that back nice and parallel to the floor, pushing into your compatriot to drain, just try and knock him off gently off balance. It's all about working the muscles in the buttock. That's where you should feel it working here. So it's good for forwards and for tackling positions and warming up the muscles of those requirements. Thank you.
Down you get. Diagonals. Quick as you can. Opposite arm, opposite leg, flat back. Opposite arm, opposite leg, nice flat back. Strong, push it in. When you fail, change over sides. Change over sides now. If you haven't changed sides, change sides. Diagonals. Left arm, right leg, or whichever. Keep that leg nice and right angles. Flat back. Keep that flat back, Michael. Pushing in. Keep that flat back. That's it. Right. Up we get. So you're going to jog out to this line. Column one's going to say which way you're going to go backwards. 7 steps to that side. Nice wide big side step in. And then the next column starts when you're halfway along. Off you go. There, that's it. That's it. So just jogging out. Right. Try and keep it together, same distance. So you're keeping that step.
Oh, right.
Come on, boys. Try and get it right, boys. Nice side step in. Nice side step in. Okay, that's fine. It's a high five. So it's an adapted plank position where they're going to do high five. Nice flat back, inside, outside of the ankles. Keeping that spine nice and solid in your waist, Keith. Off your ankles. Will, slow it down. You're lying down. Nice and slowly. Keep the technique strong in your waist, not waffy waist. Michael, letting the side down. Okay, standing up. If you go. Nice and high, nice and slowly, nice and high. Inside, outside. Try and make sure it's different on either side. All coming up in a line together, and then you're going to go backwards together in a line.
Right.
Side stepping off to the side, 7 steps. Backwards, keeping a line. That's good, boys. Nicely. Keep together.
Left.
A bit earlier, please, Will. Nice and high with those knees, Joseph. That's it. That's it.
Right.
A bit earlier, please.
That's
Nice and early, Harry.
right.
A bit earlier.
Right.
All supposed to be in a line going backwards as if they're defending very preparation-wise. This is called a competitive aeroplane. So it's an adaptive version of the aeroplane. When you're ready, boys! Leaning in, keeping the hip at right angles. Hip at right angles, Keith. Flat back, like scrummaging. All right, leg out, right angles. Hip at right angles, all right angles. Keep that back nice and flat, Charlie. Flat back, not an armadillo. Flat back. Matthew, nice flat back, you're not an armadillo. Flat back, your waist is nice and flat. Come on, boys. When you go, I'm watching, boys. Change sides, move again. Keep on changing sides. Keep your waist facing forward, down towards the ground. Off you go. So it's running around each other facing forward. One person should stay relatively still, all the time facing forward. Keeping in line all the way along, keeping the coordination and space awareness of other players.
Left.
Keep together, boys. Nice line on the way back. That's great, boys. That's great. Carry on with that. Oh, nice line defending Facing in a line, facing in a line.
Right.
As soon as Smithy. All together, nice line. Nice line, side stepping, facing forwards all the time, boys. Facing forwards all the time, going backwards. Keep together. Back in line again, boys, quick as you can. Facing forwards. Ankles and shoulders are the things that move. Strong in your waist. Press up position off your forearms. Strong in your waist. So nice flat back. Lines, the shoulders, hips and ankles are all in line. Ankles are moving round in a circle there, Felix. Nice circle, not up and down, nice circle. Ideally, shoulder width apart with the ankles. Okay, off you go. It's all about the recovery. It's about the recovery. Keeping in a line. Talking more, in a line, keep together. Column 4 is going to say which way they're going backwards, also in a line. Nice and early. It's about the recovery.
Left.
A bit earlier, boy, come on.
Right.
That's it, keeping a line going backwards, boys, facing forwards. On a line going backwards. So we're going to Superman, competitive Superman, pushing in, opposite arm, opposite leg, flat back, hips at right angles. That's a lot better, boys. That's it. Arms at leg, keep your shoulder down. Try and chest parallel to the floor, that's it. Great, okay, up you got, boys, that's great. Nice high knees. Go again.
Right.
Bit early there, please. Nice and early. Nice. Nice and early, Archie.
Right. Right. Right.
Facing forwards. Facing forwards. High knees, please.
Left.
Early, Charlie. Early.
Right. That's left.
Keeping a line. Keeping a line. Facing forward all the way back. Keeping in a line. Keeping in a line together. Say good. Nice and slowly. Slow that technique down. Will, you still haven't got that technique right. Inside, outside of your ankles. Keep the shoulders and hips together. Not a waffy back, Mr. Panther. Not a waffy back. Keep your shoulders and hips together. Calling out which side you're doing. Calling out each side you're doing. Right up you get. Sidestepping now. Learning about sidestepping. Column 2 is going to say which way they go. Hopefully fairly coordinated.
Right. Right.
That's it. Keep it together, boys. Sidestepping.
Right. Left. Left.
Sidestepping. Sidestepping.
Right.
Better, yes, good, boys. That's it, sidestepping.
Left.
Keep it together, keep it together, keep it together.
On me.
Facing forwards. Facing forwards.